Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Bola, and if you're just joining us for the first time, you are welcome. Do well to subscribe and click on notification bell so you'll be notified anytime I post a new video. For today's video, we'll be drafting the sleeve pattern for the corset milkmaid top, which pattern I drafted earlier in the last video. So if this is something you're interested in learning, do stick around and let's draft. Alright guys, so as usual, I've gone ahead to draw horizontal and vertical lines, which will be serving as our starting lines, and then for our length we'll be needing 33 inches long. Our paper should be at least 33 inches long and should I say 10 inches wide, depending on your size. Alright, so from the starting line point which I drew, I just went ahead to mark out the length, which is 33 inches, and I went ahead to connect the line to form a straight line. The next thing we're going to be doing is to get our cap's height, and the formula to get our cap's height is your bust measurement divided by 12 plus 0.5 inch. So my bust is 34 divided by 12 is like 2.83 thereabouts, and plus 0.5 inch I got 3.3, which I rounded up to 3.5 inches. So my cap size is 3.5 inches, but for the purpose of the puff sleeve, the puff that we want, the puff effect we want for the sleeve, I went ahead to add half an inch to the 3.5 inches, which made it 4 inches. So I'm going to be using 4 inches for my cap's height. Alright, so I went ahead to mark 4 inches from the top line to the point, and then I also marked it on the other point. Then I went ahead to join both points together using a straight line, using a straight ruler. So the next thing we'll be doing is to be getting our armhole divided. We're placing our armhole measurement divided by 2 on the underarm line, which is also the underarm line. All right, so my armhole divided by 2 is 7.5 plus 1 inch. We're adding 1 inch to it, which makes it 8.5. all right, so I went ahead to mark 8.5 on the armhole line on that point, and this is just me making the top starting line very clear and visible for you to be able to see it. So from that 8.5 inches point that we drew, we joining that point to the starting line point. If you don't understand what I'm saying, just watch the video. Alright, so from this point now, we're going to be placing our tape, and then we're going to be dividing it by 2 using our tape rule. So we're going to be dividing it by 2, and then we'll be marking what we have there. We'll be using our tape to get the midline rather. Alright, so from this point now, we are going to be placing our tape on the main starting line point to the middle point, and then we are going to be dividing it again by 2. So whatever we have there, we're going to mark it on that point, and then from that point we have now, we are going to be going up by half an inch. Make sure your tape is placed the same way the line is, make sure your tape is placed the same way mine is placed, like on the diagonal line point. Don't make it straight. All right, so when we get the half inch from there, we're going to be drawing a line to the top, and then we're going to be placing the tape again from the middle line, the initial middle line, to the end of the underarm point, and then we're going to be dividing what we have there by 2 again, and then we're going to be marking our midpoint. The purpose of doing this division is just to get an accurate midpoint. It always works for the tape. The tape always works for it rather. All right, so from that midpoint, we're going down by half an inch again, and then we're going to be using our straight line to meet the point. Alright, so now we are going to be joining 3 points together. So just watch how I'm going to join So from the starting line point, we're going to make sure the line connects to the half an inch point and also connects to the initial midpoint using our curve rule. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, just follow the video. So we're going to be making the curve in this manner, and then we'll be turning our rule to the other side to get the other curve. Like so, and then we're going to be connecting the other points together. So make sure that your curve is placed on the 3 points. If it's not placed on the 3 points, try to make it, just keep turning till you get the actual curve, and make sure that it's being placed on the 3 points, like so. All right, and then we're going to connect to the midpoint. So like in this manner, now we've gotten our armhole curve. I hope at this point we understand what is being shown in this video. So from this point now, we're going to mark whatever we have on the armhole line on the M line too. So initially I marked 9 inches for the armhole line, which was my armhole divided by 2 plus 1 inch. I mean 8.5 inches rather. So I placed the 8.5 inches also on the M line, and I'm just going to be drawing a straight line across everything. So this is just me measuring on point because my ruler is too short. So I'm just measuring so the points can meet and I get a straight accurate line. All right. Alright, from this point, our first pattern or the basic pattern we need to cut out the sleeve itself is ready. Alright, so I just went ahead to draw out the line so that it's clear enough for us to see. So after I draw the line, I'm going to be cutting it out and place it aside for slashing and spreading. Okay. Alright guys, from this point now we'll be slashing the pattern, and I'm going to be slashing this pattern paper with a 2 inches margin. So I'm just going to take in 2 inches on the underarm line, 2 inches on the midline. This is just to make sure the lines are accurate so I can join them using a straight ruler here. So I just took 2 inches on the M line also. Alright, so the next thing we'll be doing is to be joining these lines using our straight ruler. Be connecting it all the way up also. Alright, so we connect it with the point we marked. That's the 2 inches margin line which was used for the division. At this point I already connected it and I went ahead to number the pattern papers so that they don't get mixed, so I don't mix them up. And then I went ahead to cut the pattern out. Do not forget to cut out the margin line, which was the starting line point which we initially drew out when we were starting the pattern. Alright, so at this point the pattern was ready for slashing, so I just went ahead to cut along the lines that had already been drawn. Okay, and afterwards we'll be getting a new pattern paper that we'll be using to spread. Alright guys, from this new pattern paper point, I've also gone ahead to draw out starting lines as usual, and then I went ahead to mark my cap's height, which is 4 inches, just in order for there to be like a reading when I'm placing the initial pattern for spreading. All right, you're going to see what I mean by that in a moment. So after marking 4 inches from the starting line on the 3 points in order to get a straight line, I went ahead to join the point using my ruler as usual. And then afterwards, I'm going to be placing the first pattern, which I labeled 1 on it. Just watch attentively. So now we'll be taking our first paper, which is labeled number 1, and we are going to be making sure that the line, which is the caps height line, is going to rhyme with the new caps height line I drew for the new pattern. Just make sure that the 2 lines are rhyming. So it's just the line I drew, the new line is just going to act as a guideline for placing the pattern that will be spread on the new paper. All right, so we are going to secure this down using our tape. Yeah, it could be a paper tape or a clear tape. At this point I had a clear tape available, so I just used that to secure the top part of the pattern and also the bottom, that's the lower part. All right, so after this we are going to be taking 2 inches as the margin, 2 inches for the spacing. So that's what I'm going to be using to space out the pattern on each after I place each of them. So after I place the first pattern, I'm going to be spacing out with 2 inches. So I just put that 2 inches on the caps height line, and I mean on the underarm line and on the M line, that's the lower line, and then I placed number 2 from that new point. So the purpose of spreading this is to give the fabric or the pattern more fullness, so that when we eventually cut it on fabric, it's going to give us the effect we want. Okay, so I'm going to be doing the same thing, that's following more or less the same process which I followed for number 1. I'm going to be placing the tape on the top part and also on the bottom part. So after doing that for number 2, I'm also going to space again with another 2 inches. Then I place number 3, and then I'll place number 4 also. Alright guys, at this point you can see that our pattern is almost ready. So I just went ahead to join the top line and also the bottom line. I went ahead to use my pencil first because I wanted to be sure of the curve before I eventually use the marker, which was clearer for you guys to see here. So I'm also going to be joining the bottom lines. So this new pattern is going to be what we're going to be using to cut out our pattern. And mind you, this pattern we've been drafting all this while is going to be cut on fold on fabric. This is just 1/2 of the pattern, so it's going to be cut on fold. So do not make the mistake of cutting just one piece. So it's going to be cut on fold, that's 2 pieces on fold. Anyway, this is going to be, I'm going to guide you through it when we are going to be doing the sewing pattern or the sewing tutorial here. So at this point I just went ahead to add sewing allowance to the M line, sewing allowance to the side line, and also to the top line. Well, if you feel like this length is okay for you, it's too long, the allowance to the M line is not necessary. Alright guys, so at this point the pattern is more or less ready for sewing, for placing on fabric to cut out and sew. So after adding the allowance, I just went ahead to cut it out, And this is basically all for the sleeve pattern, guys. If you enjoyed my video, please don't forget to subscribe, like, drop a comment, ask questions. See you in my next one, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye.